Okay, so I had this intuition on here and talk to you guys about masculine and feminine energy, how to harness it, and how it might be affecting some areas in our lives. So here's why it's important for us to know about this concept of feminine and masculine energy, because masculine and feminine energy pretty much rules our entire being, our entire life. So there are three core areas of life, which is health and wellness, finance and career, relationship and love. And let's say that you are doing great in one of those three core areas. Let's say you are thriving in your career and finance core area, but then your love and relationships core area is lacking. So there's a discord there, right? So that might mean that you might be harnessing more your masculine energy than your feminine energy. And so we need to learn how to balance out and juggle the two so that we can create harmony in our bodies and in our beings, and therefore it'll manifest into our lives. Okay, so let's take a look at your life, to do an inventory of your life, because our physical world is a mirror of our internal world, and that mirror doesn't lie. So take a look at your life and think about, am I doing great in my love life, but does my career life suck? Am I like struggling with some health issues? So then, but my career life is great. So you might be harnessing too much masculine energy for your career life, but then when it comes to your taking care of yourself and your wellness, and that would come more with the feminine energy, you're sort of putting that in the back burner. So that right there tells me that you are harnessing more your masculine energy, and so your feminine energy is lacking. For example, in Hinduism, they talk about the story of Shiva and Shakti. They talk about how Shiva, which is the masculine energy, and Shakti, which is the feminine energy, harmonize together to create one energy. So in Chinese philosophy, there's the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, right? So there can't be any dark without some light. There can't be light without some dark. So there always has to be a balance. There has to be two. In Western society, we know that our bodies produce, for women, it produces estrogen. And then for males, it produces testosterone. So, but every male has a little bit of estrogen, and every female carries a little bit of testosterone. If we are lacking in one or the other, if we are lacking as females, if we have too much estrogen, then and very little testosterone, then we might be very feminine and very and not be in tune with our masculine energy. Or for males, let's say that you have too much testosterone and not very little estrogen, then you might not be very nurturing. So there are certain characteristics that come with feminine and masculine energy. So for the masculine energy, there's more of radical thinking, the logical thinking, the structure, the get it done right now kind of mentality, versus the feminine energy, which is more of nurturing, of listening to our intuition, listening to our feelings, versus males, it's less of that. So the goal is for us to be able to harmonize and be able to bring equilibrium to our bodies and our minds in order to be in balance, right? To have a little bit of both, to be able to harness one or the other depending on the circumstances. So let's take an example of somebody who has too much, of a woman who might have too much masculine energy. So let's say you are a woman who works in a structure where you have to harness a lot of that masculine energy in order to fit in or hang with the boys per se. So let's say Wall Street, and you're constantly having to harness that masculine energy, right? But then when you get home, you have different expectations. And so the expectations at home are for you to be nurturing, to be submissive, to cook, to take care of the baby. So then you have to kind of switch immediately depending on the circumstances and the roles that you're playing. And you have to switch from feminine to masculine energy instantly in order to be able to meet the expectations of the environment that you are in, right? But the problem is when we are unable to do that, when we are unable to sort of flip the switch and go from masculine to feminine energy or from feminine to masculine energy, that would be very difficult to do. So instead, what ends up happening is that one aspect of our life ends up suffering the consequences of the inability to completely switch from masculine to feminine energy. So how do we flip the switch and go from masculine energy to feminine energy depending on our roles? Well, that is extremely difficult to do. What I do suggest you do is, and this is what I work on with my clients, with the women that I work on one-on-one, is we work through different scenarios and different roles and different areas in life where it's needed to integrate either feminine energy or masculine energy, and how we do it. For example, body language. Body language is very, very important when we want to harness a certain feminine or masculine energy. For masculine energy, there's certain tricks that you can do when it comes to body language. Like for instance, like right before a speech or right before an engagement, I'll walk around with my chest popped out and, you know, sort of I would make myself bigger by, you know, opening my arms or stretching, taking up space. That is a way that I would harness my masculine energy through body language. Also, I know that certain traits go with masculine energy, so I would harness those traits, like being assertive, getting to the point. So that is one way that I would harness my masculine energy. Way of making sure, ensuring that our kids grow up being able to harness both masculine and feminine energy, because in essence, the goal is to be able to balance and integrate both masculine and feminine energies in everything that you do, because in the end we are living in a life that's a dance, and the dance needs to flow, and in order to flow we need to be able to understand how to cultivate those two energies in order to integrate and to manifest into our lives the kinds of things that we want.